What's going on, everybody? My name is Justin Godsey for the Sports Nexus. Thank you so much for checking out tonight's video. Tonight, guys, we're here talking about the San Diego Chargers as they just re-signed cornerback Brandon Flowers to a nice lucrative deal, about a 4-year contract. So let's get right into this and dissect this entire contract right now. Now, from what is being reported by Adam Schefter, what's all said and done right now is that Brandon Flowers with the San Diego Chargers, it's a 4-year contract. This is a much lucrative contract. This is something that the San Diego Chargers rarely ever do. When you look into it, the San Diego Chargers do not have the greatest depth-wise in their cornerback situation. Their cornerback situation is the biggest issue for that team right now, because when you look outside the box with Jason Verrett and with Brandon Flowers, the depth has just completely gone down. So signing Brandon Flowers was the San Diego Chargers' key person they needed to keep out of their entire free agent class. They lost Nick Hardwick on the offensive side of the ball. They lost Jeremy Clary to retirement. Nick Hardwick retired. But you know what? San Diego's defense was the biggest problem. Their defensive backs was the biggest problem last year. They could not, defend against, the deep ball. Brandon Flowers was that guy, which, when you look at all the deep passes, Brandon Flowers was not the guy that most quarterbacks threw to. So when you look at it, Brandon Flowers is one of the most, threatening cornerbacks on that team next to Jason Verrett, the two starters. So when you go down the list, Marcus Gilchrist, he has, in his time with San Diego out of Syracuse, out of the draft, I was not expecting much for Gilchrist in his time in San Diego. He's currently a free agent. I don't expect him to re-sign with San Diego. I can expect San Diego to go into the draft, maybe around the 5th or 6th round to get another cornerback to add some sort of depth to this roster. Chris Davis had his times. Steve Williams had his times as well. So depth in the cornerback situation is the biggest problem. So San Diego really needed to hold on to Brandon Flowers, and if they lost him, it's going to be very hard to replace him. So San Diego, this is just a sign that San Diego is willing to pay big money for, their free agents who they really want to keep. So San Diego takes out, mark a check mark next to the name of Brandon Flowers of players they have to keep. Now it's just adding depth, and they can do that in the draft, or they can probably get a couple of free agents here and there, a couple of guys you want to bring in. Just to add depth. I'm very solid and I'm very, confident in the fact that Jason Verrett and Brandon Flowers can get the job done. But, beyond them, it's just that question. Well, how can Chris Davis, on being that, number 3 cornerback on this roster if, for example, Marcus Gilchrist does not return? Can Chris Davis step it up? Can Steve Williams step up as well? So, we just have to wait and see what they want to do, if they're going to go out there into free agency. I just think that, with Brandon Flowers being back on the team, for next 4 seasons, that's going to benefit a whole lot for this team. There's a lot more, areas for improvement. They don't have to worry about, Brandon Flowers. They don't have to worry about Jason Verrett's contract. Now it's just, they got their cornerback situation out of the dark. Now it's time just to add, a depth cornerback to the roster, and then it's time to go and reconstruct its offensive line, which had the most trouble over the past 4 to 5 years. So let me hear your guys' opinion about this. I really do like this deal for the San Diego Chargers. I think it's a great deal for the Chargers, who, like right now, they're going through their whole stadium issues, but it's all about, it's the key thing here is that San Diego is trying to get back into the playoffs. Last year they just had to win against Kansas City, and then they were in the playoffs. They were not able to beat Kansas City. The passing game, the cornerbacks was just not, stepping up in any way. You cannot put a lot of blame on Brandon Flowers. It was a team losing effort. So, at the end of the day, Brandon Flowers is back with the San Diego Chargers. It's time for a new season. The new league year starts tomorrow. Free agency kicks off tomorrow. So, very exciting time right now. It's going to be a very interesting, free agency. Let's see what San Diego can do. There's a lot of rumors with them in Orlando Franklin right now. Adrian Peterson is interested in going to San Diego to possibly replace Ryan Matthews. There's just a lot of stuff going around San Diego right now. So let's just see what happens over the course of the next 24 hours. A lot of free agent signings. I'm very excited for this time. Free agency is the biggest thing in the NFL right now. So let's get right into it. You guys can find all your guys' free agent needs here on my YouTube channel, The Sports Nexus, youtube.com/Justin Godsey Podcast. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button. I'll catch you